while I'm out here with the sheep, and actually have 3 out of our 4 LGDs up here, I wanted to have a quick talk about Livestock Guardian Dogs and their importance. So this is Honey right here. She's 10 months old. You have Esther. She is probably 2 years old. And you have Samson. He is 9 years old. We also have Ezra, who is up by the house right now. He is 3 years old, I want to say. So Livestock Guardian Dogs are literally worth their weight in gold. Say hi. There's Honey. So Honey is our big, huge ball of love. And as you can see, she's adorable. She's actually the daughter of Esther, the black and white one that's over that way that's walking away, and Ezra. He's all black. But Honey, hey Honey. Honey is, like I said, 10 months old. And a good trained LGD, you're going to train them around your chickens, around your ducks, around your sheep and everything else. She's right near the sheep. She's also trained to this electric fencing. They're going to act well with them. Now, that's not to say that when LGDs are puppies, they might kill a chicken or they might kill a duck, thinking it's a toy and not learning yet that they're not supposed to do that. That's one thing. Killing a sheep, that's a whole other thing. Now, with this being said, these dogs have all been trained, and like I said, we have a 9-year-old dog, so Samson is actually the one that basically helps train these dogs. Now, obviously, we're involved in it. We make sure they know not to do anything with the ducks or the chickens and stuff like that. But when it comes to teaching them about predators and everything else, it's always really good to have an older LGD in with your group of younger LGDs, because as Samson's completely and fully trained, he will not touch any of the animals. He will protect. He'll run the chickens off from trying to eat his food, but he will never actually hurt them. So this is, they're so ferocious looking. This is one reason why you want to have an older LGD in your flock. But Esther, the mom of Honey, she's also very good at teaching her what to do. There's been times where Honey's been barking and Honey hasn't needed to bark, and Esther's literally like nipped at Honey's leg to make her stop barking. And teaching her, we don't need to be barking right now. See, even though he's 9 years old, look at Samson go. Oh, and there goes Honey. They're off to play, drinking the creek. So with that being said, as you can see, all our LGDs are fluffy and lovable and everything else. Ezra's the same way. But when it comes to protection of our sheep and us as well, they're very vicious. So we have had multiple stray dogs come on property. We do have electric fencing. Electric fencing is not foolproof. A lot of times when there's a really big rain, actually the only times we've had strays come onto our property is when there's been a really big rain, and we do have creeks running through our property, and basically they'll sneak through the creek area. Inevitably, they will get shocked, which is how we've realized that some of them haven't even been on property, because our property is really large and sometimes we don't necessarily see them. So we hear the yelp of a dog getting shocked, and our dogs will run down and chase these dogs off. Now, one of the instances I want to talk about, Samson was actually in here with the sheep, and our other dogs basically realized that there was a dog on property. And I kid you not, you saw Honey and Esther and Samson all bouncing around. Samson was in with the sheep protecting them. Literally, he created a barrier of himself between the sheep. The sheep at that time actually you'll see how they're kind of spread out right here. They were all clustered up together because they knew there was a threat. And in between them and the dog that was on our property was Samson barking at it. So he was being a protecting force with these sheep. Now we do have the electric fencing, and the dog had already been shocked once, so it was actually afraid of the electric fencing at that point. But our other dogs, Ezra, Esther, and Honey, basically corralled this one dog. And if I had myself and the other people that were on property at the time had not been able to get them away from that dog, they probably would have killed that dog. Honey and Esther were especially surprising. Ezra, not so much, because Ezra is an intimidating dog. He's a big black dog. Like, if you come on property at night and he starts barking, you don't even know where he's coming from because he's so dark. But Esther and Honey, they surprised me because their teeth were gnashing. They were super vicious looking, like they were foaming at the mouth. And even Honey and this was a couple months ago, so she was like 8 months old. Even Honey at 8 months old was going after this dog, and the dog was about the same size as her. They had no concerns about the fact that the dog could have done them any harm. Their job was to protect this flock, protect myself and the girls. They actually even notified myself. They came up to the door and started barking like crazy, and that's how I knew something was going on. Samson was actually barking at another friend of ours that was on property at the time, alerting him that something was going on because we were in different parts of the property. And it was a really cool thing to see them work together. They worked together as a team. They got the dog, like I said, corralled and taken care of, and we were able to get the dog off property. Another time, actually more recently, this was in the last few weeks, a pack of dogs came on. It was, when I say pack, it was like a mom and dad and some puppies came on the property. And it was actually just Esther and Honey this time because we had Ezra off somewhere else, and Samson was in with the sheep. And so Esther and Honey went out, and they went, because one of the adult dogs got shocked by the fence. It came in through the creek after a big rain, got shocked by the fence. It ran off. Like, I heard it and I ran outside because I was like, oh great, more dogs. And I saw the dogs, but Esther and Honey were already on it, and they flew down. They actually pinned one of the puppies up against a wood pile we had. And the thing about that was too, is it was a puppy. I mean, I'm talking maybe 8 weeks old. And I told them, it's okay. I got it. The minute I said, it's okay, I got it, both of them backed off, but they stayed next to me. They stayed next to me to protect me should that puppy decide it wanted to attack me. But they stopped pinning the puppy up against the wood pile. They listened to me, they obeyed my commands, and eventually the puppy was able to just get off property on its own. The puppy actually was not friendly at all. Like, I tried to reach out to pick it up to put it over the fence, and it started biting at me. It did not bite me, but it started biting at me. And that's when I think it was Honey that she like kind of stepped in and pushed it back into the wood pile to show it that you don't do that to my mom. But they took care of the issue. They took care of it. They worked as a team. So good LGDs, like I said, are worth their weight in gold. You know, this is something that I don't take very lightly. We actually have never lost a sheep to a predator. We've had LGDs since we've gotten the sheep. So we've never lost a sheep to a predator. We actually originally got LGDs because we were losing chickens to bald eagles. The electric fencing was doing a really great job protecting the sheep when we were in Florida. We actually didn't have to worry about predators nearly as much in Florida as we do up here. So we were losing chickens to eagles. Well, it turns out that LGDs are also really good with aerial assault animals as well. And so we have yet to this day lose any chickens due to aerial predators as well after getting our LGDs. So we haven't lost any chickens, haven't lost any sheep, and well, we've never lost any sheep. We've been doing this almost a decade, and we haven't lost any chickens, and it's probably been about 8 years since we got Samson. It's been 7 years that we've had Samson. So once we got Samson, we haven't lost any sheep, or any chickens, I mean. So, like I said, they're worth their weight in gold. They keep the flock protected. They keep you protected. Plus, as you saw when they're running around, they're cute little fluffy things too. So it's kind of fun having them just around, period. But you have to train them. You have to take the time. You have to have the energy and everything else. They don't just magically come to you that way. A lot of times you can buy LGDs pre-trained, but at the same time, you have to keep up their training. You can't just be like, oh, this LGD has, you know, the people who owned it, you know, trained it not to kill chickens and ducks and sheep and everything, but I'm just going to let them do whatever they want. LGDs are smart. They will know if you are not in control, and they will do what they want to do as well, too. They're also dogs. They still have, you know, dog instincts to a certain extent. So think about that. Think about your property. Think about your animals. Look at those lambs. They're just having a grand old time. That's Oak and Winter, I think, that are running around up there on the top of the hill. And then we got Morgan and I think Goliath, and I don't know. I'm losing track of all the sheep, y'all. But you have to continue to train your sheep dogs. Once they get older, like Samson. With Samson, it's more of an, are you an authority figure to him? Because there's people who've come on property who have tried to be authority over him, and he's like, nope, you're not authority over me. And he doesn't listen to them. But he listens to me, and he listens to my husband, and he even listens to my kids. So that's the big thing too. You have to show an authority presence over them, and they have to respect you. So with LGDs, it is continued training, but it is also respect them respecting you and realizing that you're an authority figure. And that doesn't mean you have to be forceful or anything like that. It's kind of like children. You have to follow through on your actions. If you tell them no, make sure they don't do it. If you tell them go do this, you got to make sure they do it. So there's that too. But treat your dogs right and they will be worth their weight in gold. If you have any questions about LGDs, please drop them in the comments below. Fun fact, hair sheep shed. He's a St. Croix and he's currently shedding right now. He's shedding his winter hair. That is Marty. So if you have any questions about LGDs, drop them in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer them. And I hope you all have a great day. Bye.